Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Let's Play Every Day. Before I go any further, Let's Play Every Day is sponsored by Northern Lids, because I forgot to say that of the last two shows yesterday by going off script. I can't ad lib. I'm not Willi Myles. I know this. I just can't take this stuff in my head and I need a teleprompter. I'm nothing without a teleprompter. Northern Lids, the finest custom patch and knit hats. And that way, I'll keep that scrolling on there just to make up to you, Nick Gross, and you good folks at Northern Lids, because you guys are the best. All right, look at this. Does this cast look the same as the placard I put out this morning? It does not, because there was a last minute change. Kevin Gorg is traveling with your Minnesota Wild. They changed their travel schedule, and as such, he had to adjust his as well. And last night, I was reaching out to a couple of people, and I thought, wait a minute. I know a girl. So Karla Bigham is a Minnesota State Senator, and she is one of the people who is working, among other issues, to bring sports gambling to Minnesota. And we do a show called It's Gorgomatic, which is all about sports gambling. And I said, well, what if she would be willing to come on our show? And she did. And we had so much fun that she comes back now every Thursday and does a segment called Thinking Bigham. And she gives a couple plays. And so you are making your debut on Let's Play Every Day. Welcome. And thank you for adjusting your schedule to be a part of this.
Hey, no problem. And thank you so much for the invite. I'm looking forward to this. I've seen a couple episodes and you guys always have a good time. So I appreciate being part of the fun.
Well, the rest of the fun is Heather Rule. She's a freelance sports journalist and member of the Minnesota Twins social media team. And of course, the one and only C. Willi Myles, former college athlete and coach, now touring observationalist, best known as America's everyday comedian. And the everyday comedian is in the midst of his holiday jam. You did one sold-out show last night, and you got another one coming tonight.
Tonight, yeah, at the same spot, same venue. So it was a great crowd last night. I had a blast. So I'm running on fumes this morning, Tim.
I saw a former coworker who attended the show, said thanks for the laughs, had a great time at the show. So I'm sure everyone else had a great time too. But of course, we can't start without a little controversy. And that means Twitter, of course. We're heading into the holiday season. As such, we're going to veer off sports a bit because yesterday the Twitter world was thrown into a tizzy when LPE panelist Tyler Forness, a.k.a. The Real Forno, started it off by tweeting, and I quote, "Good morning, everyone. Today is your yearly reminder that gravy is the best Thanksgiving Day food." And I gave this careful consideration, and I responded by saying that I found it difficult to argue with the Forno statement because while I love turkey, stuffing, and mashed potatoes, and not necessarily in that order, all are undeniably enhanced by the power of gravy. And I remember a sister-in-law saying to me one time when we were having one of our first Thanksgivings, if your gravy's hot, your meal is hot. And I was like, okay. So, and my wife crushes gravy, by the way. Anyway, after giving this considerable thought, I put that out there. And right away, being the muckraker that she is, LPE panelist Jessie Pierce responded, saying that she acknowledged with her most controversial tweet of the week, saying, "No gravy, period, anywhere, period. Keep it off my plate." Now, if that wasn't enough, she goes further and says, cherry pie is greater than pumpkin pie. To which Heather Rule weighed in on this controversy. Heather, will you encapsulate your response for us here?
So I responded first with an absolutely not gif to the cherry pie.
Right.
Which is mostly because I don't really like cherry pie that much. It didn't really have to do with the holiday, like cherry pie shouldn't be a Thanksgiving pie or something. I don't really like cherry pie, but especially saying that should be for Thanksgiving. Like, no, not at all. So that was my first response. Tim, you said you like French silk pie over all the fruit pies, which I also agree. I love French silk. That is an amazing pie, which, by the way, Baker Square sometimes has a European truffle pie of the month. A certain month of year. It's an amazing pie. It's like French silk, but a step above. So
wow.
So you'll have to try that sometime because it's amazing. I've never really had French silk as like a pie on the holidays though. So because we usually do the traditional like pumpkin and apple pie. And then the other response I had was that with the pumpkin pie, which I do enjoy, it's more like I'm having a serving of Cool Whip. And the pie is the side item. Like I need to make sure that Cool Whip covers the entire
Heck
slice
yeah.
of pie. So, and then I used a gift from Stewie Griffin from Family Guy from this famous Cool Whip scene. So
It was well played. Willie Myles, where do you come down on the controversial gravy versus no gravy issue? And if it's not too controversial, I can already see by the look on your face earlier where you come down on the pie issue.
Oh yeah, well, look, there's no gravy for me, man. I don't put it on my plate. I don't deal with it. Gravy to me just means you're trying to cover something up. I want to taste the food. I don't want no gravy just hiding. You know what I mean? That to me is just no. You put it on the side and then push it away. That's what I always do. I don't want any gravy on my food. So I'm not
like the old-fashioned hot beef sandwich or hot turkey sandwich, open face with gravy. You would never do that.
No, absolutely.
My
not.
issue is stopping at one plate.
Right. I get that too. And pie. Look, I'm a traditional cat, man. I grew up down south of Mobile, Alabama, and we don't even discuss pumpkin pie. It's not even I don't even touch it. I make sweet potato pies. That's what we do down south. I brought it to the Midwest. My wife's family is German. They all eat sweet potato pie. I bring the pie for the holiday dinners. I'm the pie maker around here. We don't mess around with that. They used to do pumpkin pie, and I was just like, my hypocrisy only goes so far in Midwest cuisine, because I bring the South with me for the holidays. I do all the cooking for the holidays around here.
And I bet you cook everything.
Mm-hmm. From the cradle to the grave.
I did not know that.
That's right, man. I'm a heavyweight, buddy. I'm chef du jour.
Well, I'll tell you what, that's not happening at my house. Not because I wouldn't do it, because it will never be as good as my wife could do it. When I first went to my wife's family, I was like, oh, my mother's turkey dinner is so good. This is a sacrifice. First mouthful, I'm like, oh my God, her mother's is better. And my wife can duplicate what her mom did. The turkey, the dressing, the stuffing, the mashed potatoes, and yes, the gravy. Senator Bigham, I don't want to lose you any constituents. How do you feel about this? Is this too controversial?
After almost 20 years of doing this, I can thread this needle, Tim. I got it. So I will say this. I actually host Thanksgiving and make it for about 15 people. And I'm about to throw a curveball into this whole discussion, y'all. Green bean casserole, because I'm from Minnesota. So that's like my favorite thing. And I can't do gravy because I tried to make it once, like with the shaker and everything, right? It actually exploded because of the pressure in it. And my husband busted out laughing. Yeah, busted out laughing. And from that point on, Mama Bigham has to come early and, do her thing with the gravy. And I'm just not going to mess with it. And so it's actually, quite a ordeal here for Thanksgiving. I absolutely love it. It's probably my favorite holiday to host because it's so traditional and you don't really have to give much thought to the menu. And by the way,
it's a hard meal, isn't it? Or am I overestimating that? It seems like it's hard meal.
It's putsy, but I'll say this: if I screw it up, I can call Tanucci's in Newport.
Been there.
Yeah, I could call. Gus and Junior down there and be like, "Something happened. Do you have an extra turkey for me?"
Green bean casserole is a good choice, though. That's probably one of my favorite sides. That and the stuffing is one of my favorites. I don't need gravy on my stuffing either.
Yeah, no. And pumpkin pie is the jam. My grandma made the best pumpkin pie, and she's no longer with us, but I've been able to replicate it. And so that's kind of my thing every year is that I make that. And my cousin brings a pecan pie, and it's all good.
I always say if it comes out of it's not like I didn't have pumpkin pie, but my mom made it like from scratch. Like my mom said, if it come out of a can, it ain't real, baby. It's been sitting there for a while. That ain't real. So we used to have real pumpkin pie that was really kind of yellowy, and it's just like sweet potato pie, and it tasted that way. But my tradition, look, this is what I make for Thanksgiving: collard greens, homemade macaroni and cheese, potato salad, ribs. I don't mess with turkeys. I need food I can eat and that won't put me to sleep. And then, and that's how we roll here. And and then we have sweet potato pie. Either I'll make a 7-up pound cake, or you're gonna have peach cobbler along with the pie.
And you do
that's
all
called
that.
Closure. We shut it down. You don't take a nap. You pass out.
Hey, so let's go back and I know we haven't approached the sports yet. And that's okay. So macaroni and cheese. This is one of those things that
Homemade
growing
macaroni
up,
and cheese.
homemade macaroni and cheese. So I grew up with homemade macaroni and cheese, but this was a Friday night during Lent thing that we ate as Catholics. No meat. Oh, that's okay. We got macaroni and cheese. And then I started seeing it, as the country diversified. And of course, I grew up in homogeneously Caucasian White Bear Lake, Minnesota, right?
And
also
in the name, white.
Well, we called it White Boy Lake. White Boy Lake.
What I call
and I loved it. It was a beautiful place to grow up. But also in mac and cheese, I'm going, what is macaroni and cheese? And also this discussion about macaroni and cheese being part of the holidays and everything. So macaroni and cheese is a cultural thing. But I'm wondering about the difference of the recipe itself versus, so the one I grew up with has a bunch of Velveeta, which I'm guessing is maybe not part of what you're talking about. Maybe it is, I don't know. But had canned tomatoes.
No.
Yes, that's my version, and I still make it to this day. My wife and it will eat it Friday. So tell me about macaroni and cheese. Stop it.
Macaroni, and it's macaroni, and it's egg, and then it's milk, and then it's also 3 different types of cheeses. You got your sharp cheddar, and then you got your mozzarella, and then you have your regular just regular cheese, right? And then you
as an American, like sliced cheese?
Yeah, American cheese. Yeah, no, not sliced cheese. This is all bagged cheese, like your
shredded.
You take out when you're making like lasagna. So the same cheese that you put in lasagna, that's what you put in your macaroni and cheese. And then you stir it all up really good, salt and pepper it really good, and then you put it in for me, I will not make macaroni and cheese unless it's in a glass 9x13, so you can see how it's cooking, and you throw it in the oven and you bake it. And it's just, when it comes out, you cut it in squares and it's nice. And I'll send you some pictures of what my macaroni and cheese look like. And everybody all my friends, they come, I usually would host a Thanksgiving and invite people over here, and they would come over and they just absolutely love it. And you can eat it and you take it out, and when you want a little bit tomorrow, you throw it in the microwave for 30 seconds, and it just melts. And you eat it, and it's gooey. It is just really, really good. Yeah.
So is this a recipe that do you share this, or is this closely guarded? Is this something you'll take to your grave?
I share it. I mean, I teach people how to make it, because I've been to people's house and they made macaroni and cheese, and and I would tell them right off the bat, I mean, this is a version of macaroni and cheese, but it ain't the deal. You don't put nothing in it. Macaroni and cheese does not. I don't want you to put bacon. I don't want you to put crumbs on top of it. I'm traditional. Do you think they did that back in the colonial days? No, nobody was doing that.
You think the colonists were eating macaroni and cheese?
They should have. It's delicious.
No, just the southern ones. On the plantation.
All right, we're coming back to this because there's more controversial Thanksgiving Day food topics. But your Minnesota Timberwolves made it look easy last night, playing down in the Big Easy. They unleashed a vengeful big cat on the New Orleans Pelicans and winning their 4th straight 110-96. Willi, yesterday I told you that New Orleans big man Jonas Valanciunas had beaten Cat up and taken his lunch money the last time these two teams met. Apparently, Cat remembered that too, because he scored 23 of his game-high 28 in the first half. I know you were working last night, but it is fun to see Cat take it personal, isn't it?
It was. Absolutely. It's fun, man. I watched the highlights. So, look, at the end of the day, I need you guys to lay off a big Cat. I'm a big Cat fan, just like I was a big Ticket fan. These cats have been here. They play hard. They just needed help. Big Cat showed up last night, and like he's shown up for the last 3 games, and he's put down numbers. He's put in work, and that's the type of player he's been since he's been here. Though he may not be the kind of guy that you like. He's not the hard player, but he's a good player, and he was a number 1 draft pick. That's why he is who he is. All he needed was help, and last night he put that team on his shoulders, and he carried them. And that's what he's been doing since he's been here. I don't understand what other people don't see about that, but you can't do it if you don't have help, you know. And that he's same as Kevin Garnett to me. He plays hard every night, but if you got help, it just makes it look a lot easier. But when you're by yourself, it's just, you know, you look feeble, you know, when you're trying to do it everything. And he can't rebound, pass it to himself, and then shoot the shot. You know what I mean? So yeah, he looked good.
We know that. We know that, right? The evidence is there to back that up. That is 4 straight wins.
Lay off of him. We don't fight.
Karla, you're getting used to something here, but we'll see where this is going. That's 4 straight wins by double digits, and last night the Wolves couldn't hit the broadside of a barn. It was their defense that carried them. Heather, if this team is going to contend for a playoff spot, playing defense, which they said they were going to do this year, seems like a pretty good place to start. We're almost 2 months in. Seems like it's more than just talk.
Yeah, and you need defense. You need it in baseball. You know, the saying is always pitching in defense wins championships. I mean, you can score as much as you want, but if you can't stop the other team from scoring, I mean, it's, you know, you're not going to come out on top at the end. And I think, yeah, they need to focus on that. You know, you're going to have nights where your offense is, you know, the shots aren't falling or they're maybe just not in sync or whatever it is. But if you can really focus on making sure you have good defense, that's where it's all going to start and you're going to have success. And, you know, grabbing the rebounds, making sure that you're doing those kinds of good things. Kat, you know, had a good night last night, like Willi said. So, yeah, so I think you're right. They need to make sure that they're staying on top of the defense and keep it going too after, you know, I think I heard the schedule might get a little, you know, they get a little bit tougher now for the Wolves after the 4-game winning streak. So let's see what they got now.
Let's see what they got. Senator, where do you come down on the Timberwolves in your Minnesota sports repertoire?
So I think I said it on the Gorgomatic show, but penny wise, pound foolish. My husband and I cut the cord, and so we don't have valleys. So anyway, so I have to watch highlights and keep hitting refresh on Twitter. But I could tell you this, that, you know, they really came into the season preaching about their defense and their aggressiveness and their aggressive nature they're going to bring and shooting and just really getting in there, mixing it up. And I think, you know, I agree with C. Willi and Heather that Kat has a leadership, in my opinion, a leadership style that brings the team along. And when he has his supporting cast with him, it's good. And so I'm with C. Willi on this one. I am a Cat fan, and but I think you know, they're a young team, and so you know, this year might not be the year, but next year maybe, and so they just got to keep growing and getting more mature. And as Heather said, you know, defenses win you championships, and they also keep you on the edge of your seat when you're watching the Vikings game because they lose it in the second half, and we have to keep coming back. Like, it's just, I think we need therapy for this.
Yeah. So now comes the return of Jimmy Buckets. This is a guy who came here, sort of trashed the place and left. Willi, you always talk about how you can't let people come into your house and do bad things. Has any one single player ever come in and done more bad things to the Timberwolves house than Jimmy Buckets? What's the message you want to see out of your Timberwolves tomorrow night?
Well, let Jimmy have his way, man. Let him have his way. As long as they don't win. That's what I'm talking about. Sometimes you can't stop one player. It's like trying to stop, you know, if you can stop LeBron James, good chance that you're going to stop the Lakers. But if you stop, you ain't going to stop him, number one. You're not going to stop Jimmy Bucket. He's going to get his bucket. But as long as his team don't kick over all your furniture, you know what I mean, you can straighten that back up. Just don't let him leave with the win. I want to see him do well. He's a great player. But at the end of the day, you know, he's no longer here. You're going to get your numbers. You're going to look good, leave, and then just leave things the way you found it, buddy. You know, so I think the way they're playing right now, I don't think he's going to come in and do the things he's done in the past. I really don't.
Heather, what is a Thanksgiving Day tradition, food or otherwise, at the Rule home that you just couldn't have Thanksgiving without?
So there's a couple of them. The first one is, have to give a shout out to my friend Pat Royce from the Star Tribune and his Turkey of the Year column. We get the paper. We don't cheat. We don't read. We read it in the paper when it comes in the morning. And so my parents and I, we each individually have to read it. We can't say anything till everyone has read it, and we find out who the Turkey of the Year is. So that's the first thing. Then the other one is Friends is one of my favorite TV shows. So we watch Thanksgiving episodes of Friends. The two that we usually watch every year, because my parents really like these two episodes. The one with the rumor from season 8 with Brad Pitt when he guest starred, when he was still married to Jennifer Aniston. And then the one from season 9 with Christina Applegate as a guest star. So we always watch those two Friends episodes, usually in the evening after dinner is all done and all that. So yeah, those are kind of our two things that we do every year.
Very nice. And is it just family? Is it extend beyond your nuclear family?
Yeah, we have a pretty small extended family too, but usually the Friends episodes are just me and my folks.
Very nice. All right. So the Twins made a number of roster moves late last week to free money for prospects and free agents. Among those released, fan favorite La Tortuga, utility man Williams Astudillo. Heather, while it's probably the right move, are you going to miss Astudillo?
Well, selfishly, from my content perspective, I'm going to miss the gifts and the fact that I now have to dump an entire folder of Tortuga gifts in the trash and go through all my other ones, and which happens, whenever players traded or released, I got to go through my gift library. And but he's a very, as I like to say, gifable player with his entertainment value. I think was, he was a fan favorite from the beginning. But like you kind of said, I think some people realize, it's like it's time. It's kind of run its course. He's a nice utility guy, but doesn't offer a lot with the bat. He ends at bats quickly because he swings away and he puts the ball in play. So from pace of play, he's really good from that standpoint. But yeah, he's not really an everyday player. I think this past year he got in the lineup every day for a while with, when there are other players out injured, and it's not the same. It's like a less is more with him. If you could just see him every once in a while, or, get those shots of him in the dugout with his antics or whatever, it's fun. But yeah, so we'll miss him for the fun and entertainment standpoint for sure.
There are multiple reports that the Twins are still trying to figure out what to do with center fielder Byron Buxton, and they are entertaining trade offers while trying to determine Buxton's trade value. Senator, what should the Twins do with their oft-injured but oh-so-talented Byron Buxton?
Well, I know he's a fan favorite, but I don't, and Heather would probably know better than I, but I think he's maybe just slightly over, if not slightly under 50% on the field over his recent seasons. And you got to let him go. I think you have players. This team, again, has such potential, but if they could stay healthy, stay consistent, I think that would obviously benefit them. You have players like Donaldson, Polanco, Kepler, Sano, that it's a good team, and I think they have some money on the line for free agency and stuff like that to make some moves. So let's hope that they do. But I think you got to let Buxton go. I mean, he's a fan favorite, Minnesota favorite, but the Twins is just so dang stingy, and you gotta. I mean, these are the decisions. Seriously, these are the decisions you make when you don't open up and loosen those purse strings a little bit. I mean, these are the decisions you're going to get faced with. I mean, If they won't do it, then you have no choice, and that's going to impact your fans. So.
And it would be an easier decision to make if we were able to see him more often, or feel like there was a reason he was going to be in the lineup more often. But it just, you know. So
But
Willie, I know where you Willie,
the Twins do have a much better record when he is in the lineup. I should have looked this up.
no doubt.
Absolutely.
Like it is completely night and day.
His wins above replacement
when he's in the lineup, and like
the highest I think in Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
But the problem is, we go months and he's not in the lineup. I mean, so you Willie, I know where you come down on this, but I will just say, as devil's advocate, you know, are you going to give, you know, upwards of $20 to $25 million a year to a guy who may not be there, who may injure himself running from home to first base? Well, guess what? You do that in baseball. You run from home to first base. There's no wall involved. There's no diving involved. You know, he just hurts himself doing that. I mean, the Wild had to let go Gabrick because Gabrick couldn't stay in the lineup, and Byron Buxton makes Marion Gabrick look like Lou Gehrig.
Well, look, we did it for years with Joe Mauer, and we paid him upwards of $25 million a year. That guy was in this lineup. He played 58%. You know what I mean?
And what did we learn from that, Willie?
Yeah, not to pay him $165 million guaranteed. Buxton's not that kind of a player. Look, and I'm saying this about Byron Buxton. We are better off with him playing. Baseball is a long season. There is no team in the MLB that won't have one or two players that are out 38 to 48% of the it's a long, and these are not the most conditioned athletes. Trust me on that. These guys, you see them stretch. I mean, running the first base, they'll pull a hamstring. You know, they slide. This guy running to the wall. There's nobody better out there. I'd rather have a 50% Byron Buxton than no Byron Buxton. I really would. I was upset when they let Torrey Hunter go. Every time we have a great player, they're going to be out for part of the season. But you know what? They're good in the clubhouse. They're good to talk to the players that are coming up to replace them. They're good to have on the team. And that's what I said. I respect that about Joe Mauer. The guy was out a lot. Never should have been a catcher. Should have put him on first base as soon as they signed him to that big contract. Yep. You can't sit there and kneel down and expect the guy would be out with a hangnail. But I'm just saying, at the end of the day, Byron Buxton is not the kind of guy you just trade off and you don't even know what you're getting for him. Because when he's, like Heather said, when he's in the game and we're winning. And you give your team a chance. And I'd rather have 50% of him than 0% of him. In that, bring somebody else in that's unknown. That's not a tough decision for me to make. He's a great player.
Yeah.
I just go from a general manager's perspective. You have to see what's out there, what his value is, what could he bring in return, and try to determine, do 2 or 3 players or 3 or 4 players or 3 or 4 draft, whatever it is that worth the return of? Because you say I'd rather 50% Byron Buxton. You mean, is he going to be there 50% of the time? Because if he's not healthy, he's not going to be in the lineup. He's not a guy who plays with an injury, because it's not ever a small injury. You know, he's had so many major things go wrong. So I don't know. And I don't pretend to have, because we talked about this before we went on today, and this is not to fight with you. And I've got to get Heather off in 2 minutes. So we don't know. There is no right answer, because if we let Byron Buxton go, you know he's going to the Yankees or the Cubs or the Dodgers, and he's going to be healthy for 162 games, and he's going to tear the cover off the ball, and he's going to be MVP, and he's going to win the World Series. And you know if we sign him long-term, it's Joe Mauer redone all over again. He'll be hurt all the time. The fans will resent him, and we'll go, why did we ever do that?
I think you got to know what you get for him. I mean, I agree with Willie on that too. Like, you can't just let him go and not know what you're getting. But if you can put something together and get a good deal, good package.
They have to go through the process they're going through. They have to. They have to see what's out there, and they have to see what they could get for him, palatable or not. I mean, I just think that's prudent. Okay, so it's 9:59. Heather's got to go bowling. So we got to get her out of here. See, Willie, you are traveling. You have a show tonight, and you are traveling down to Texas. Safe travels. I want you to know I am thankful for you. You are so good to me about your flexibility, your schedule, and you're always so shy. I just wish you would say more of what you really think. That would help me a little bit. Heather, happy Thanksgiving to you and your family. Thank you so much.
Thank
It's
you.
been wonderful getting to know you and having you on this. I'm thankful for you. And Senator Bigham, we're working on Thanksgiving.
We got 3 games of football.
That's right. So we're going to be at It's Gorgomatic at 8:30, and he doesn't even know you're filling in for him today. He got me this thing, and I'm like, oh, I'll figure something out. So we'll let him know that you stepped in and you did his job again. So
yeah, they had an off day in Florida with the Wild. Real tough life there.
Do you know what the players did last night?
They were at the football game, weren't they?
That's right. They got a suite, and we're at the Bucks and Giants game last night. So
Nice.
Good for them. And they did a rookie initiation night too. So I'm guessing some rookies' wallets are a lot lighter this morning for that experience last night. But thank you all, and thank you for participating in this. That's where we have to leave the conversation for today. To everyone out there, we are thinking, I wasn't going to have a show on Thanksgiving, but I was contacted by one of the people saying, if you want to have a show, I'll be on Thanksgiving if you want to do it. So if I can clear with my wife, if I'm not responsible for something at that time, we'll see you tomorrow and Thursday. So stand by for that. All right, there you go. Thank you all. This is Let's Play Every Day, part of Let's Play Sports Network. Check out the Senator at It's Gorgomatic every Thursday when we do Thinking Bigham. And other than that, have a great day and hope to see you right back here tomorrow morning.